Greetings, my name is Sean Nolan, and what you're about to watch is an environmental simulation that took place in my environmental dispute resolution class last year. It's about 12 students are participating in this simulation. You don't see all of them on camera, and you're not going to see all of it throughout the whole span of the video. We're just going to show you a portion of it. This is an example of what would happen in a class if you're in one of our dispute resolution classes where you take on a role and you practice an experiment. So enjoy.
So we could start with Lee.
Hi, I'm the environmental group. In terms of consensus, I think that we'd be happy with a supermajority or consensus with.
And what are your primary concerns regarding the proposed rule as it stands now?
Well, our interests are just kind of defining some of the terms. We're obviously very strongly interested in protection for humans and the environment, so we want to make sure that there's transparency in this process if we have people. So that's going to be our main interest in this.
Hi, my name is Jennifer, and I represent the Labor Coalition, and we are interested also in a unanimous vote, and we feel as though that way that we can most have our concerns heard. And the Labor Coalition, we believe that the level that is in this proposed rule should be much lower. It should be 0.25 parts per million. No one knows how this dirty stuff is going to affect us. I mean, look at DDT. I mean, as you know, the people who come in contact with the dirty stuff the most need the highest level of protection to protect our health and well-being. And you know, we refuse, one of our main things is that we refuse to be not paid for days missed if the levels are too high in the factory. And I mean, we have to feed our families now and in the future, and we should not be forced to do so in a serious jeopardy to our health. And the monitoring standards that are in this rule, we feel as though some of them are good, some of them need to be worked on, but we need to make sure that they will actually be taken seriously by the industry.
I'm Nate, and I represent the community's interests, consumers, and we're primarily concerned that the community is involved with monitoring of the of all the actions that proceed from here, and then also any research that is done on dirty stuff from here on out. We feel like the community, being the largest regulated entity, you could say, needs to be a part of these regulations. We're concerned about the environmental aspects of this for sure, and then also the human aspects of this involved with the labor force.
And are you looking for unanimous consent on the proposed rule?
We prefer unanimous as well, yes.
Mr. Kavanaugh?
My name's John. I represent the industries that produce dirty stuff as a byproduct of their industrial process. Our major concern is ensuring that any regulation that is put in place will allow industries to still operate at a financially viable level. We are interested in the safety of our employees and the environment around us, but it doesn't do us much good if any regulation will force us out of business. So that's it.
And in terms of reaching consensus, what would your group prefer?
We don't have, I'd say majority would be fine with us.
My name's Sam, and I'm representing the agency. We feel to this point that our position is pretty well out there. There's a rule on the table. Clearly that process didn't incorporate all the interests of each party that's taking a role in this, and we're looking for a more complete explanation of each party's particular interests so we can adapt and adjust our process accordingly.
One of the questions that we had before the negotiations was whether the agency will go forward with the rule regardless of whether it's modified.
That's not a decision that we're prepared to make at the moment. We're interested in how these negotiations go forward.
I can interject as recorder. I'm trying on the screen to identify your concerns and interests. And so as I go through, if you see anything that seems, if I missed your point, if you can just point that out, and I can change it in the notes. I just wanted to go out and say that.
As a facilitator, I'm wondering if you have the final authority to move forward. You said you're not prepared, but you do, in essence, have the stick in terms
We are a
of...
government agency, and although we do try to reflect the interests of constituent parties, occasionally we do go forward. But there eventually usually needs to be a decision made. However, by participating in this process, we hope to please as many parties as possible.
Ground rules. As with any negotiation, a couple of ground rules. Obviously, one person speaks at a time. Respect what other people have brought to the table, and that's really about it.
I have a change in
Yes.
my record. I also am concerned about making sure that the monitoring standards are taken seriously.
The monitoring standards.
And not just, words on a piece of paper.
Another goal of ours is to look at these regulations proposed as really a whole document and not necessarily each individual points. Obviously, the individual points are of concern, but when you're thinking about consensus, think about the document as a whole and whether you can live with the majority of the conditions that are proposed here today. And they may also be used as kind of a collateral for trade-offs too, for coming to your consensus.
Without objection from the parties, I thought maybe we could begin by discussing condition 1 and any reservations, modifications, concerns your groups would have. Lee?
Okay.